WWE had changed as the ruthless aggression era was in full effect, and stars had returned to the company, mega stars debuting in WWE, more rising through to become main eventers or future main eventers, and the mega stars of the Attitude Era were slowly disappearing. With the emergence of this era in WWE was still the most dominant company in the world. No other company was ready or able to challenge them, not even TNA or Ring of Honor, and AEW wasn't even a thought in Tony Khan's brain. WWE Smackdown Here Comes the Pain was going to emerge as the biggest game, not only in the Smackdown series, but for wrestling games as a whole. Since the release of the first Smackdown game, the buttons had pretty much stayed the same. Here Comes the Pain expanded on that and made it bigger. Now with grapples, instead of just pushing the circle button and the direction to perform a grapple attack, push and circle and direction initiates different types of grapple. Circle and up is the power grapple, circle and down is the submission grapple, circle and left is the signature grapple, and circle and right is the quick grapple. When one of these has been initiated, you can then perform an attack by pushing circle and the direction again. Run is still triangle, X still punches and kicks, and hitting X 3 times still performs a combo. Square is now to pick up weapons, L2 reverses striking attacks, R2 reverses grapple attacks, R1 changes the focus, L1 still hits your Smackdown finisher, L1 and a direction hits your secondary Smackdown finisher. You can counter the opponent's Smackdown finisher by pressing L2 and R2 together, and if you press L1 and R1 together, you can steal your opponent's finisher. This requires you to have 2 Smackdown finishers ready. If you're playing as a wrestler who has a submission move for a finisher, like Chris Jericho, and he's Walls of Jericho, when you hit the finisher, you're entered into a primitive QTE, where you got to smash all the buttons to drain the meter and force them to submit, adding a layer to your game plan in opening up a can of whoop-ass on your opponent. The beauty of the attacks now is that they all feel very personalised. When you play as The Undertaker and you find yourself in a grapple, when you initiate the signature grapple, when you punch them, the mannerisms are exactly like The Undertaker. When playing as Goldberg, you can hit a powerful kick to the head and that will no doubt end their career like Goldberg did Bret Hart. Lesnar will take your head off the only way Lesnar can. Like I said, the moves, stances, taunts, everything has become a lot more personalised, so you feel like you're really in control of them. With weapons, you can perform grapple attacks by pressing circle in the direction. Another example, grab a chair, hit circle in the direction, you can perform a body shot and smash them over the head with the chair. Then, there's weapon finishers. Hit L1 whilst holding a weapon in the right situation and you can perform a finisher with your weapon. Whilst you're backstage, you can break down walls and interact with all kinds of things in your environment. Whilst you're whooping your opponent's candy ass, you'll notice next to your Smackdown meter is a little body. This basically tells you how much damage you or your opponent have sustained during the match. It changes from clear to yellow to amber to red. If the head or body is red, you'll more than likely have the chance to get a 3-count pinfall victory. If you're one of the powerhouse wrestlers like Lesnar, if you hit a power move on a cruiserweight like Ultimo Dragon, his body will flash, indicating that a lot of damage has been done. When the head is red, if you hit the right move, whether it is a strike, grapple, or with a chair, you can make your opponent bleed.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Yes! They finally included blood in the Smackdown games. Don't worry though, you won't bleed as much as Austin, like he did against Bret at WrestleMania 13 or Eddie Guerrero against JBL. In the previous Smackdown games, you could play as Deborah and easily pick up Big Show. It was an absolutely hilarious sight. Long and short of it, there weren't any weight physics or mechanics. Until now. Weight physics have been introduced in Here Comes the Pain, and now if you're a cruiserweight like Rey Mysterio and having a match with Lesnar, if you try to pick them up, good luck. But the weight physics are in effect and Rey just can't do it. This adds a new layer to the gameplay as you've got to readjust your game plan as opposed to thinking about grappling. You've got to keep moving and use your speed to get through the match and win. The final thing to really note are the new character models. They look awesome. Similar to Shut Your Mouth, this was the pinnacle of having your favourite wrestler look like they did in real life. Some of these have been severely over-exaggerated. I mean, look at Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner. In real life, he's a genetic freak and is legit built like a brick house. Now, look at him in Here Comes the Pain. Look at those arms. Slightly exaggerated, I feel. This also applies to Triple H and Lesnar. Their bodies are very much exaggerated. Oh well, a small thing amongst a whole host of awesome upgrades. Then there's of course the return of Creator Wrestler and still no Creator Pay-Per-View. Oh well, can't have them all. One thing to note though is that there is a dedicated website called CAWs which has a whole list of wrestlers from the past and outside of WWE that you can create. It has become a whole community here. Pretty cool. And once again, the more you play the season mode, the more unlockable arenas and alternate outfits you can get to play in as you collect and spend more of your hard-earned SmackDown dollars in the game. Long and short of it, things just got bigger and better. The roster from Shut Your Mouth to Here Comes the Pain did increase, and in total, there are 65 wrestlers in the game, 58 male wrestlers and 7 female wrestlers. Yes, the ratio still sucks. Another cool introduction in Here Comes the Pain are the legends you can play as. This is the first time in the series that you could play as legends, and some of them include the Road Warriors, Animal and Hawk, the Iron Sheik, Sergeant Slaughter, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, Rowdy Roddy Piper, and The Undertaker. Wait, The Undertaker? He's a regular playable character, but this is The Undertaker when he first debuted. Awesome. Here's the full list of the 12 legends in the game. Outside of the 12 legends introduced in this game, there are an additional 15 superstars who either return to the series or making their first appearance, including Batista, John Cena, and Sable. Here's the full list. As always, a whole bunch of wrestlers got the cut from the game. These include during the development of Here Comes the Pain, certain wrestlers did have their character models built, but were subsequently removed either to free up space or because of their departure from the WWE. Wrestlers like Jeff Hardy, Molly Holly, 3 Minute Warning, Jamal and Rosie were going to be included in the game, but removed. And here's an interesting note. Jeff Hardy was used in promotional material, receiving an F5 from Lesnar, indicating his inclusion in the game. But he was removed after he was released from the company in April 2003, after refusing to go to rehab due to his substance abuse issues and decline in performance. The game was also going to include 2 versions of Hulk Hogan. The Hulk Hogan of the time where he faced Vince McMahon at WrestleMania 19 and legend Hulk Hogan, looking like he did during his peak in the company back in the 80s. He was removed from the game after his departure from the company in May 2003 due to conflicts with Vince and his position in the company. Finally, there's the Ultimate Warrior. He hadn't worked with WWE since 1996 and never talks of his inclusion in the game, but due to differences between Warrior and WWE, this never came to fruition. But as you can see, gameplay footage was caught of Warrior in the game facing The Rock. further showing he was going to be a playable legend in the game before he was removed. Now that we've gone through the roster, legends, cut wrestlers and more little tidbits, we can get through to the championships in the game. By 2003, WWE had completely revamped their championships. After SummerSlam 2002, the undisputed WWE Championship became exclusive to SmackDown after Lesnar defeated The Rock, meaning Raw was without a world champion, which by September 2002, Eric Bischoff reintroduced the big gold belt to us all as the World Heavyweight Championship, giving it to Triple H. And his reign of terror began. The European Championship was retired in July 2002 after it was unified with the Intercontinental Championship by Rob Van Dam, who defeated Jeff Hardy, and Rob Van Dam would also retire the Hardcore Championship around the same time by defeating Tommy Dreamer. Speaking of the Intercontinental Championship, that was unified with the World Heavyweight Championship at No Mercy in October 2002 as Triple H defeated Kane during the infamous Katie Vick storyline. The Intercontinental Championship was reintroduced in May 2003 after Christian won a Battle Royal at Judgment Day. The United States Championship was introduced to us in July 2003 and won by Eddie Guerrero at Vengeance. The WWE Tag Team Championship became exclusive to Raw and rebranded as the World Tag Team Championship, and because of that, SmackDown introduced the WWE Tag Team Championship, which was infamously contested between Edge and Rey Mysterio, Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle, and Los Guerreros, with the first champions being Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle. The Cruiserweight Championship was still around, as was the Women's Championship. Then there's the WWE Hardcore Championship. Hold the phone. Didn't I just say it had been retired? Play the tape back. And Rob Van Dam would also retire the Hardcore Championship around the same time by defeating Tommy Dreamer. Yeah, there you go. The Hardcore Championship was retired in 2002. So, why is it in Here Comes the Pain? Long and short of it, you can't play as the women in season mode in Here Comes the Pain. So that leaves 3 championships to win on Raw: the World, Intercontinental and Tag Team, while SmackDown has 4 championships to win: the WWE, United States, Tag Team and Cruiserweight. So, to even things out in Here Comes the Pain, they thought it was a good idea to have the Hardcore Championship in the game. There you have it. Along with all the match types that had been used in the previous games, of course there is only one variation added, and that was Elimination Table Tornado Tag. Wow, calm down, Here Comes the Pain. But there are 3 new match types you can play. Along with the introduction of blood in the game comes the first blood match. The aim of winning this match is very simple and is in the name of the match. To win, all you have to do is make your opponent bleed. Simple. Next is one of the most devastating matches in WWE history. A match so brutal it has shortened careers and has made wrestlers famous. The Bra and Panties match. Ha! Got you for a second there. The Bra and Panties match can only be contested by the women's wrestlers and is a team's dream match. The aim is to simply remove your opponent's clothing until they are down to their bra and panties. Thank goodness this match hasn't seen the light of day in God knows how long. Okay, now to be serious, the final match is brutal and has shortened careers. The Elimination Chamber.
Elimination Chamber.
Yep, the Elimination Chamber makes its debut in this game, and for those who don't know, here's how the match works. There are 6 wrestlers in the match. 2 start the match and 4 are locked in their pods. After a certain amount of time, another wrestler enters the match until all 6 wrestlers are in the match. You can eliminate your opponent by pinfall or submission at any time, and the last wrestler left is the winner. This match is a hell of a lot of fun. because you can climb the pods and perform some devastating aerial moves, unless you miss of course, and you can smash your opponents into the chain walls and pods, smashing them. God, I love the Elimination Chamber. The season mode is the main event once more, and as opposed to the 2-year odyssey you go through on Shut Your Mouth, it has been shortened to a singular solid year. That's a relief, because 2 years was a bit much. Anyway, before we get into some of the highlights of my season playthrough as Booker T, let's take a look at a couple of things before we get started. First, we can choose who we play as. Then, we can edit the rosters from both Raw and Smackdown. Up next, you can take out certain wrestlers from the season, so you don't have to deal with them. Edit the tag team, and all that good stuff. After we get through the intro video and JR and King stating that WrestleMania was a huge success, we can get to the backstage area. This is the hub where we can look or change certain things. We have the ability to walk around the arena and come across various wrestlers or authority figures and interact with them. Then there's the GM's office where we can see our superstar points. Yes, Stan makes a return in Here Comes the Pain. Leave the office. Request the transfer to the opposing show, which can only be granted when you're not in the middle of an important storyline. And finally, challenge for a championship. Only if you qualify with the right amount of superstar points. You can check out your win-loss record in certain matches and other wrestlers. Then there's the attributes. This is one of the best innovations in the game in my opinion. Here, you can improve your wrestler. The more matches you compete in, if you win you get more experience points, and with those experience points you can improve your wrestler. From strength, to submission, to technique, to speed, and stamina. Improving these attributes will help you on your journey in this season mode because it can help you deal more damage, escape a cage quicker, reverse more often and easier, and more, giving you more reason to put in the grind. But my biggest issue is the number in experience points you're required to increase one attribute to the next. It takes a lot sometimes, and if you want the full 100, be prepared to work and grind hard. Okay, let's get to the storylines. The season mode kicks off where you're going around the ring and you're questioning why you got into wrestling. Maybe the fame, the adulation, the adrenaline, who knows? All you know is that the view from inside the ring is amazing. Anyway, once the opening intro is done, we get JR and King commenting on how much of a success WrestleMania was and how they can't wait to get the new year rolling. I was then approached by Eric Bischoff, who makes the obvious comment of being the GM of Raw and wants to bring the best product to the fans and basically welcomes you to Raw. I didn't have much of a storyline going on in April, but I did face both Chris Jericho and Christian in a handicap match, which I lost. I did however face them again in a tag team match with my partner Goldust, which we won. By this time, Triple H, who was already the World Heavyweight Champion, won the World Tag Team Championship with Ric Flair. Vince comes out and he begins to praise you and your abilities, but reminds you he can make or break your career. Alright Vince, calm down mate. I move on and I get to face Triple H. Nice little challenge here. I go into the match and I beat him. I've got my eyes on a prize, and that is the World Tag Team Championship. So I've popped over to the office of one Eric Bischoff and I inform him I would like to challenge for said championship, which we win, but we don't defend them at Backlash. We are approached by Jim Ross, who asks us if we want to defend our newly won tag team belts, and I agree. Vince comes out and says that he is sick of us being the tag team champions. We've had the belt for 2 weeks. Anyway, he picks our challengers and it is the former champions Triple H and Ric Flair. I go on to face Flair and have Goldust in my corner whilst Flair has Vince in his corner. I beat Flair, but Goldust makes the mistake of attacking Vince. Well, safe to say that Vince isn't impressed by this and proceeds to suspend Goldust. Joy! I have a match with Christian next, which I win. I then find myself against the odds as both Triple H and Flair attack me. In the middle of all of this, Taz asks me if I want to participate in the upcoming UK tour. You're damn right I do. Triple H makes me an offer. He says that if I can beat him, he will go to Vince to see if he will lift Goldust's ban. I go into the match against him and lose, meaning I will now have to defend the World Tag Team Championship by myself. To try and build some momentum going into my match at Judgment Day, I get to face Ric Flair and win before Triple H comes out and says that Goldust suspension has been lifted for after Judgment Day. What a jerk. So I go into this match and it is one of the hardest matches I've been in, as I had to fight tooth and nail with weapons and give my all. After what felt like a lifetime, I won the match and successfully defended my Tag Team Championship. It was made sweeter when Goldust makes his return to scare off both Flair and Triple H. Before moving on to my next storyline, I am approached by the coach, who asks if I would like a manager. Yes please. And I pick Trish Stratus over Stacy Keibler. Trish approaches me in the corridor and says she's very excited to be working with me, and as the good boy that I am, I shake her hand and not perv on her. Then I go ahead and face Scott Steiner and beat him. After successfully winning my first match with Trish as my manager, I am approached by Jazz, who goes ahead and starts talking smack about Trish and claims to be hotter than she is. She wants to take a gander, but I'm a good boy and look away. Trish comes over and tells Jazz to piss off before saying that she is trusting me. To end only the first week of Raw, I'm attacked by Chris Jericho, who doesn't want to see me go on the international tour to the UK for Insurrection. We get into a backstage brawl and swiftly whip his ass. At Insurrection, Jericho is out in the ring talking smack about me, so I challenge him to a tables match. And I swiftly beat his ass and put him through the table to win. Trish approaches me and has a nice present for me. A nice pie she baked, which was made by using her grandmother's recipe, and wants me to have some after my match. I'm not The Rock and using some kind of innuendo. It isn't my style. So I let her know that I'll have some after the match. Bless her heart though, she's too nervous to watch me eat it because she's scared of me not liking it. Bless her. Then I face the big red machine, Kane, and win. Then for whatever reason, it's a beauty contest between Trish and Jazz. King is being the massive perv boy that he is, and I have been given the arduous task of picking a winner. So without a doubt, I'm picking Trish. Trish then challenges Jazz to a match next week, which is gladly accepted. Before their match, I'm approached by Chris Jericho. He starts mentioning how hot Trish is and how he wants to try her pie. Boy better wash his mouth out with soap before I slap the taste out of it. In the match between Jazz and Trish, Trish gets the win. I come out to celebrate with Trish and give her a nice, wholesome hug. I'm with Trish in the back and she blushes. Then we're approached by JR, who sounds like he is telling us off at first because this was supposed to be about business. Then says that he's really happy we found each other. What a swerve, JR. Then I'm thrown into a match with Chris Jericho where once again I win, but after the match he throws out a challenge for another match. I mean, I've just kicked his ass, so why not do it again? Well, he reveals that the plan is not to face me, but to face Trish, and if he wins her services. The ass clown punked me. At Bad Blood, after giving it her all with me trying to help her, Trish sadly loses the match and she leaves with Jericho. Boo. All the boo. Side note, The Rock goes ahead and wins the World Heavyweight Championship. I can't be upset for too long though, as Michael Cole sees me in the parking lot and asks if I've seen the card for tonight. Of course not, I've just arrived, dingus. Anyway, I'm going to be facing The Rock, the new World Heavyweight Champion. A good chance to whip his ass and stake a claim to become the #1 contender. Even though I thought it was going to be one-on-one, it turns out I'm in a tag team match. The World Tag Team Champions Booker T and Goldust versus the World Heavyweight Champion The Rock and the Intercontinental Champion and the damn who stole Trish from me, Chris Jericho. We go in and we win. It doesn't end there. Out comes Triple H, who attacks both me and The Rock. Cheeky son of a gun. He claims the title shot belongs to him. I don't think so, buddy. It still doesn't end there, as out comes Eric Bischoff and announces a tag team tournament where enemies will be put together into teams and the winning team will face each other for the right to become the #1 contender. That's a little bit convoluted, but sure, let's roll with it. The tag team tournament begins, and before we get started, me and Triple H are interviewed by the coach. Triple H, wanting all the spotlight, takes the lead in the interview and is confident we can win the tournament. And being a smart mouth prick, he says, as long as I don't drop the ball. So I punch him in the face. In our first match, we face Goldust and Chris Jericho, which we win with Triple H getting the pin on Goldust. Sorry, dude. In the final of the tournament, we face Kevin Nash and Kane, where after four finishes, we get the win. We've won the tournament, so now I'm going to get the mental advantage by punching Triple H in the face again. Going into my #1 contenders match, you know I'm going to have to work hard to win. It is Triple H after all. But I pull it off and get the win. I'm getting a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship at Vengeance, baby. In the main event of Vengeance, it is me versus The Rock for the World Heavyweight Championship. This is my one chance, my one opportunity to win the gold. And even with Triple H trying to interfere in my match, I still go on to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. Now, to defend the belt. Going into August, and it appears my first opponent is Stone Cold Steve Austin, who reveals that the rumors are true and that he is indeed the #1 contender for my World Heavyweight Championship, stating that he wants us to have a classic match against a true champion. Nice of him to call me that, even though I've had the belt for one day. Me and Austin then tag together against former champion The Rock and Test, which we win. In the back, Austin finds me and wants to take me out for dinner and says to meet him in the parking lot. Whilst walking in said parking lot in my wrestling trunks, I am viciously attacked by someone in a car with a sledgehammer. In week 2, Stone Cold is in the ring, and sadly I am not there to entertain the crowd live because of my attack, but I am there via satellite. He goes on about how it was a horrible act of violence, and he knows who the culprit is, none other than the former World Heavyweight Champion, The Rock. Rock goes on to provocate Stone Cold and tells him that he will make him a victim of the sledgehammer as well. After the match, Rock assaults Austin with the sledgehammer as he promised and leaves Austin in a heap. Oh, and Rock won the match. Austin decides to confront me in the back and says he doesn't think me and Rock having a match is a good idea, as I'm still suffering from the attack 2 weeks earlier. Austin wants me to get back safely, so we go out afterwards. He sure does like wanting to take me out. After beating Rock senseless in our match and pinning him to the mat 1, 2, 3, I go ahead and get some revenge on Rock. Who comes out though? Austin. What does he do? Attack me with a sledgehammer. Then smiled as I'm left now in twice as much pain as I walked in. Austin is once again in the ring and reveals that he was the mastermind behind everything. Why? He doesn't care about a 5-star classic. He just wants the title and will do anything to get it. He goes ahead and challenges me to a Hell in a Cell match, which I gladly accept. Then I go into a tag team match with Goldberg to face both Stone Cold and The Rock, where I go ahead and murder the pair of them as Goldberg to preserve Booker's energy, hit Austin with a spear and pin him. SummerSlam is here and I go into my Hell in a Cell match with Austin with the utmost confidence. There was just one small hitch. After I fall from the top of the cell, he falls from the top of the cell, he then gives me a Stone Cold Stunner and pins me to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. After all that work, I lose the title after 1 month. After the brutal match, I'm approached by JR once again and he asks what I would like to do leading up to Survivor Series. Form a faction or remain a single star? Even though I am still one half of the tag team champions, and I choose remain a singles wrestler. I arrive into the arena, ready for a new challenge, and I'm approached by Austin, who goes ahead and starts talking smack about my car. You know what? The dude isn't worth my time, so I just walk away. Then I'm thrown into a random triple threat tag team ladder match. I'm partnering with Goldust, of course, against Chris Jericho and Christian, and The Rock and Austin. Bit weird, but okay, and we go and lose the match as Austin grabs the belt. Even though the tag team titles were not on the line. Then in week 2, I don't have a match. Zip. Nothing. The following week, me and Goldust get the chance to defend our tag team titles for the first time since Judgment Day against Kevin Nash and Shawn Michaels, and guess what? We lose. Yep, in the space of 3 weeks, I've lost the World Heavyweight Championship and the World Tag Team Championship as well. Just super. Then after losing the gold in week 4, again, not on the card. Do me and Goldust at least get a rematch at Unforgiven for the World Tag Team Championship? Nope. They aren't even being defended on the card. September was not a good month, but I can take some solace knowing that Austin lost the title to Goldberg. In Las Vegas, Nevada, Mr. Eric Bischoff decides to play a game of Raw Roulette to determine my match type for the night, and it is a steel cage match against Triple H. I win. In week 2, I face Triple H again. I win. After the match, Vince comes out to the ring and confronts me. He says I have all the potential in the world and have been making quite the name for myself in WWE. He wants to make me an icon, take me to the top of the industry, and offers his hand where I choose to shake hands with the devil himself and turn heel. Then Taz asks if I want to go on the next UK tour, and I say yes. Vince is back in the ring and he brings me out. Tonight, he wants to showcase my skills and abilities against one of the WWE's best, Trish Stratus. Well, this is awkward. So, as a newly found heel, I disregard all aspects of happiness I had with Trish for that brief time in June, beat the living snot out of her and beat her. When something like this happens, someone always gets pissed off, and this time it is my former tag team partner, Goldust. First of all, he's pissed that I shook Vince's hand and joined him. Then second, he says he wants to break my hand at No Mercy. Okay then, sunshine, prepare for a whooping. Before that, I face Shawn Michaels and win. After Goldust's match with Kane, I go ahead and beat his ass up, whip out a can of spray paint and proceed to write SOB, even though you can't see it because of his outfit. Then at No Mercy, former tag team partners and champions collide in an epic main event match with Vince McMahon as the special guest referee, and I whoop the living poop out of Goldust with 4 finishers, including his own, and celebrate over his fallen corpse. Me and Vince pull up and arrive in the arena in a sweet limo and make our way straight to the ring, where it is announced that I will face none other than Devon Dudley, whose ass I whip and beat until Stone Cold decides to stop my post-match beatdown. Jerk. Then at WWE Rebellion, I face Steve Austin and beat the crap out of him. Why? Because I am the new and improved Booker T. For whatever reason, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, is in the ring and he has the same sentiments as Austin and he can't stand me either. What did I do to you? Then it's off to face his tag team partner Kevin Nash in the main event and he gets his ass beat too. Vince though is worried because now we've pissed off Austin and HBK. All of a sudden, Mr. Bischoff arrives on the scene and says he has an idea that will solve everyone's problems. Before we know it, Bischoff is standing in the ring and he has an announcement to make. There will be a title shot at Survivor Series between the World Heavyweight Champion Goldberg, Rob Van Dam, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, and the new and improved Booker T in the first ever Elimination Chamber match. He goes through the rules, looks like a smug prick, and then I'm off to face Austin in the main event where once again I win. In the go home show of Raw, I face Shawn Michaels in the main event where I get yet another win. After the match, Vince gives me a pep talk and says he sees the great Booker T in front of him and we go out to get some dinner. People just love taking me out and feeding me. In the Elimination Chamber match for the World Heavyweight Championship, Kevin Nash and Rob Van Dam start the match. They go at it until the World Heavyweight Champion Goldberg enters the match. No one is eliminated yet, but Shawn Michaels comes into the match 4th. The 5th man who enters is the new and improved Booker T, where I instantly go to whip some ass. Austin is the last man to enter the match and nothing but sheer chaos breaks out. RVD is the first man eliminated after a spinebuster by yours truly. Whilst being up HBK, I drop him onto his back and throw him straight into the glass of the chamber pod and smash it. Not long after, HBK is eliminated by Nash after a big back suplex on the outside of the ring. Kevin Nash gives me a jackknife powerbomb and to repay him for that, I throw him face first into the chamber pod glass and smashing that too. Austin gives the World Heavyweight Champion a stunner and before he can pin him, Nash decides to go after Austin. So I take advantage of the situation, eliminate Goldberg and guaranteeing a new World Heavyweight Champion. After a spinebuster to Nash, Austin decides to try and attack me because he's an idiot and not pin Nash. So, like a genius, I avoid Austin and sneak the pin in on Nash to eliminate him. It has come down to me and Austin, renewing our rivalry from SummerSlam, and I use Austin to smash not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 chamber pod glasses. Proceed to hit him with the scissor kick and reclaim my World Heavyweight Championship. Confetti falls from the ceiling of Madison Square Garden as a new champion is crowned. Booker T. My buddy Vince McMahon is in the ring and he announces that he wants to make some changes and straighten things out. He claims that the title is for superstars who are real championship material. Okay, where is he going with this? Then outright state that I am not championship material. What the I won it like last night and I sided with this ass clown to get the belt. Now he turns on me? Douchebag. He then names a new number one contender, Triple H. Great. Him again. Then, in a tag team match, I team with Ric Flair and face Triple H and Shawn Michaels, where we get the win. Then I face Triple H one-on-one the next week, get the win, and beat Triple H up so bad after the match, where he is escorted out of the arena on a stretcher. Good. Of course, HBK wants some of the following week to maybe get revenge for what I did to Triple H. No use as I beat him too. As opposed to just graciously walking away from the match at Armageddon, Triple H arrives on the stage in a wheelchair, and in an Oscar-winning performance, he magically goes from being paralysed from the waist down and stands up, dancing like a dickhead. In week 4, Rob Van Dam steps up to the World Heavyweight Champion and proceeds to get a great big L next to his name as I beat him too. Triple H comes out again after the match and allows me to pick the match at Armageddon. So, I'm going with 3 stages of hell. At the beginning of Armageddon, JR is kind enough to announce the 3 stipulations for the 3 stages of hell match. Fall 1 is a hardcore match. Fall 2 will be a cage match. If a third fall is needed, it will be a ladder match. Game on. Or game over in this case, because I beat Triple H in the first fall after busting him open with a chair shot to the head, followed by a scissor kick. The second fall, I just went in and destroyed Triple H and pinned him, meaning a third fall was not required. January is the unofficial start of the road to WrestleMania, meaning the Royal Rumble is next in our calendars, and to kick things off, I face Bubba Ray Dudley. It's nice to face someone fresh, but he isn't around for too long as I make quick work of him. The People's Champion, The Rock, squares up to me and declares himself the number one contender. To spice things up a bit, JR announces that there will be a Battle Royal match to determine the number one contender with a twist. I am in the match as well, so if I win, theoretically, I don't have to wrestle at Royal Rumble and can have the weekend off. The other participants are The Rock, Kevin Nash, Bubba Ray Dudley, Rob Van Dam and Shawn Michaels. Nash is out first after he receives the most electrifying move in all of sports and entertainment, the People's Elbow. HBK is eliminated after a Bubba cutter out of nowhere by Bubba Ray Dudley. The Rock eliminates Mr. Monday Night Rob Van Dam after a rock bottom. A few moments later, I eliminate Bubba Ray Dudley. Then finally, after getting too cocky, Rock hits me with a rock bottom and pins me to win the match and become the number one contender. Turns out that Triple H though has similar beef as he has to defend the Intercontinental Championship at Royal Rumble 2. Who against? We shall find out soon. In a nice reunion with an old tag team partner in Test, we face The Rock and Rob Van Dam, with Test picking up the victory after a huge big boot to the face of Rob Van Dam and slapping Rock down to the floor to pick up the pinfall. Then I'm off to face Bubba Ray Dudley again. He isn't an issue as I beat him quite quickly and convincingly. Then after Triple H's match, he is attacked by both Kevin Nash and The Rock, with me making the save. Rock then makes a suggestion at the Royal Rumble. Both the World Heavyweight Championship and Intercontinental Championship is defended in a tag team match against The Rock and Kevin Nash. The team that wins all the gold. Before our match, I'm approached by Triple H and actually asks for my help. Then says once we win, we shall go out and celebrate. Another date night could be had. And guess what? Me and Triple H are having a date night as we both successfully defend our championships as Triple H gives Nash a pedigree, knocks Rock off the apron and gets a pinfall. Yeah! On to the Royal Rumble match, and after an exciting match, Goldberg wins and earns a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania by last eliminating The Undertaker. The road to WrestleMania has officially begun, and in my first match of February, it is against Bubba Ray Dudley again. Goldberg is in the ring before my match though and gets on the mic and starts prattling on about how we won the Rumble and that the title is calling his name. Bubba Ray Dudley has received a nice little push, but that all comes to an end as I beat him swiftly. Before I can even get out the ring, Vinnie Mac returns to piss on my parade. The geriatric dickhead asks if I'm going to be at WrestleMania and will I be in the main event. He continues by announcing a title match at No Way Out. Cool. Who against? Kevin Nash? Okay, wait, there's another challenger and it's Shawn Michaels. I have to defend my belt against both men. The Council of Elrond demands an explanation for this bull. Slick Ric Flair arrives on the scene backstage and lets me know that we have a tag team match next week against Michaels and Nash, and that I can count on him. Good to know. He also says to just remain concentrated on the title match at WrestleMania. In a random bit of booking, I'm up against the Hurricane. Always good to see him, but it isn't for long as I prove he isn't a good superhero and beat him swiftly too. After the match, Test finds me and tells me that Flair is being taken to the hospital. Turns out that he was attacked and now can't be my partner for the match next week. That gerbil looking mofo Michael Cole is interviewing Shawn Michaels where he refutes any involvement with attacking Ric Flair last week. Even though Michael still wants a fair match, it's going to be 2-on-1 instead. That's the opposite of fair, you clown. So in the main event, I do indeed face both Michaels and Nash in a 1 versus tag handicap match. And would you believe it, before the match starts, Goldberg decides to join me and becomes my tag team partner. We work together and grind out the victory after a scissor kick to Michaels. Then after the match, me and Goldberg square up, get real close, avoid kissing, and just stare at each other. The final Raw before No Way Out sees me going up against Kevin Nash, where as always I had to grind out the victory after a scissor kick to Nash helps me pick up the pinfall. Then it's Vince again to deliver wonderful news. I get to choose the match at No Way Out, a handicap match or a double header. Of course, I chose the double header. Vince admires my bravery only to then announce that he will be the special guest referee for the second match. Great. Once at No Way Out, I do in fact notice my doubleheader matches with me facing Kevin Nash to open the show, and if I win, I face Shawn Michaels in the main event. Well, I beat Nash in quick fashion this time and beat him up after the match. Then go on and face Shawn Michaels in the main event with Vince as the special guest referee, and I also win that one. Then I drop Vinnie Mac on his grapefruit after the match to close out the show. Ric Flair is back and is looking forward to getting back to the action and wishes me luck at WrestleMania. We then team together to face Austin and Michaels and go ahead and get the win. Goldberg is back in the ring and basically says he is going to embarrass me and take the title at WrestleMania. Coach then interviews me and asks some questions about Goldberg. I give my honest opinion, then we move on as I face Austin in the main event. Guess what? I win. Austin doesn't like this, so attacks me after the match where I'm saved by Triple H. He takes out Austin and in true Triple H fashion attacks me. He calls me a disgrace to the belt, wants a title shot at WrestleMania, and will beat both me and Goldberg for it. Me and Goldberg are then in the ring, and Goldberg, being the deductive genius that he is, states that he won the Royal Rumble and that he earned a shot at me for the World Heavyweight Championship, concluding that others are now getting involved. The bald-headed goof is correct. Goldberg put his #1 contendership on the line against Triple H with me as the special guest referee. When I went into this match, I wanted to be as fair as humanly possible. I wanted Goldberg to win though because I got sick of Triple H getting in my business. Anyway, Goldberg ended up wrestling like and could have lost the match on countless occasions. So I broke the referee's oath, attacked Triple H a lot, until Goldberg finally hit the jackhammer and won. Eric Bischoff finds me and says that he is looking forward to WrestleMania as it means he can watch me get embarrassed in front of the world. Jerk. Then I finally face Rob Van Dam, where I once again win, to be met by Goldberg after the match, who allows me to pick the match for WrestleMania. And I pick Hell in a Cell. I know, it's crazy given I lost against Austin inside Hell in a Cell back in August. At WrestleMania, I'm approached by Kurt Angle, who gives me a pep talk. Goldberg is interviewed by Cole and he says that this is the biggest match of his career, on the biggest stage of them all, and will give the best match that he can. As you can imagine, it was a tough match, but in the end I was successful in defending the World Heavyweight Championship after a scissor kick to get the pinfall. After the match, I celebrate with my championship in hand. I raise Goldberg's hand in respect, to then knock his ass out with the belt afterwards. Hey, technically, I'm still a heel. In the final cutscene, I'm walking through the backstage and seeing all the other wrestlers. Goldberg approaches me and thanks me for the match. Rock tells me I had a good match. And I even get praise from Satan, Vince. Then, I'm back to questioning why I wrestle. I come to the final conclusion that this is my life and that they are my family. I vow to continue wrestling, even when my body gives up. I'll keep going, even when the fans chant my name. As you can imagine, the reviews for Here Comes the Pain were positive, just like the games that preceded it. Some of the scores the game got beat out the previous games, so let's take a quick look. IGN went ahead and praised the gameplay mechanics, graphics, career mode and creator wrestler feature, calling it one of the best games in the wrestling game genre. Eurogamer said that the game has a superb blend of traditional and wrestler specific fight mechanics. GMR commended the game's submission moves due to its logical location based damage system and said that the wrestlers are accurately presented. Oh, and guess what? WWE Smackdown Here Comes the Pain was certified platinum from the ELSPA after selling at least 300,000 units in the UK. Shock horror. To top everything off, Here Comes the Pain was nominated for Best Sports Game at the first British Academy Video Game Awards, Best Sports Game at the 2003 Spike Video Game Awards, Console Fighting Game of the Year at the 7th Annual Interactive Achievement Awards. It did win Best Fighting Game at the 2003 Spike Video Game Awards.
Yo, this is PlayStation 2 Smackdown. Here comes the pain. The fire in the game's insane, and I'm not talking about Kane. You won't believe all the divas in a bra and panties match. Create your own superstar. It keeps all your stats. This time they added blood. You can tell when you're in danger, and I dare you to conquer the Elimination Chamber. We got too many options. It'll fool any geek. In Legends mode, you can use Snooker or the Iron Sheik. Yo, this is thugonomics, man. This class is dismissed. So go, get out, man, and cop that disc. What?
THQ, Ukes, and WWE hit 5 home runs in a row with the SmackDown franchise, not only proving that WWE were the most dominant brand in all of wrestling, but in the video game arena as well. No other wrestling game could touch them. Legends of Wrestling came and went with a whimper. Backyard Wrestling died after 2 games. Celebrity Deathmatch, terrible. The Def Jam games, they're a whole different kettle of fish, which I'll explore in more depth on the channel at some point. TNA wouldn't release TNA Impact until much later in the decade, and Fire Pro Wrestling was dominating in Japan. Effectively, WWE ruled the world. The SmackDown franchise from here on out would change and become WWE Smackdown vs. Raw, and a brand new franchise would be born from it. Come on, they were running out of catchphrases to use. I don't think WWE Smackdown, Rest in Peace, or WWE Smackdown, The Time Is Now would have worked. Maybe The Time Is Now actually. Anyway, the series would change and evolve over time, becoming the 2K series that we all know, love and play today. But the SmackDown vs Raw or the 2K series wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the success and legacy left behind by SmackDown 1, 2, Just Bring It, Shut Your Mouth, and Here Comes the Pain. It invigorated the wrestling game genre and electrified us all, leaving us with memories that will last forever. Out of all the SmackDown games, Here Comes the Pain is considered the best, and I agree, it is the best in the series. The gameplay mechanics, the character models, the season mode, everything in this game was made so much better than the previous games, and I ploughed hour after hour after hour on this game. It truly was the best and quite honestly my favourite PS2 game ever. After all is said and done, we have reached our 3 count moment and the end of this documentary and retrospective. So, thank you very much for joining me here on World-1 Entertainment, here on this journey known as the history of the WWE Smackdown video games, a 25th anniversary retrospective. It has been an honour and privilege to present this to you. As always, if you liked the video, give it a like. Share the video as well, because the more shares, the more views, the more that the channel continues to grow, and the more I get to do this for you. Subscribe to World-1 Entertainment, and don't forget to check out all of the other content that is on the channel, because you never know, there might be something else that you like. If you do subscribe, don't forget to hit that notification bell to stay notified whenever a new video goes live on the channel. Finally, drop me a comment below and let's share some memories. Thank you again for joining me, and I will see you all next time. Take it easy, everyone.